Hi, my name is Noah Abji, and today we're going to learn how to do order of operations with parentheses, brackets, and braces. So let's begin. So first, let's start with just a review of order of operations with the basic four operations, which are multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So the rule is that we always do multiplication and division first and addition and subtraction second when we have an equation or an expression. Now, one misconception is that a lot of people think you always do multiplication before division and addition before subtraction. So multiplication and division actually have the same order, which means that you don't do one or the other first just because it's multiplication or division, but you do whichever comes first in the question. And that same rule applies to addition and subtraction. So let's look at an example. In this example, we have the expression 6 minus 4 plus 2 times 3. And here I see three different operations that we could do. We could do 6 minus 4, 4 plus 2, and 2 times 3. Our order of operations determines what order we do this in. And since multiplication and division comes first, before addition and subtraction, then we should do 2 times 3 first. So 2 times 3 simplifies to 6. So now if we write down the rest of our question, which is a good habit when doing longer expressions, then now we have to do 6 minus 4 plus 6. Now, addition and subtraction have the same order. So because the subtraction comes first, that's what we're going to do first. So 6 minus 4 is 2. And then bring down the rest of the question, which is plus 6. 2 plus 6 is 8. So that's how you do the order of operations with just the basic four operations. Now let's move on. So how do we use parentheses, brackets, and braces in the order of operations? Well, first, what are parentheses, brackets, and braces? They're a set of, I guess I should call them brackets, that you put around different parts of a question. So a parentheses looks like this, where you have an open one and a closed one, and stuff goes inside. Brackets like this, where it's more square and rigid, and braces, which are pretty curly and have this really nice shape. And inside these, you put different parts of questions. So let's look at how they're used. So parentheses, brackets, and braces signify that whatever inside should be done first. So if you had a question and you wanted to do the addition before the multiplication, this is where parentheses, brackets, and braces come in. So in this first example, our question reads 3 times 2 plus 1. Now, normally we would do the 3 times 2 first because our order of operations tells us that multiplication comes first. But parentheses supersede that. Whatever is inside of the parentheses, no matter what, should always be done first. So since we have 2 plus 1 in the parentheses, we do that before the multiplication. So 2 plus 1, 2 plus 1 simplifies to 3. And now instead of doing 3 times 2 first, we do 3 times 3. And 3 times 3 is equal to 9. If we look at the second example, this one's a little bit more tricky because we have more inside the parentheses. Now, we just use our normal order of operations inside of parentheses. So we do 2 plus 3 times 4 first before we multiply that by 3, because that's within the parentheses. So 3 times 4 should be the first thing that we do, because remember, order of operations still applies inside of parentheses, so we should do multiplication first. So 3 times 4 is 12, and then if we do 2 plus 12, that is 14. So 3 times 14 is equal to 42. All right, so in these two expressions, we only had one set of parentheses. So what about the brackets and braces? And what if we wanted to have more than one set of parentheses? Well, let's look at an example like that. So if I clear everything and move on to the next example, here is one example with a lot of parentheses. Now the rule is if you have more than one set, you do whatever comes in the inside most parentheses first. So in this example, we have 3 sets of parentheses, one right here, one right here, and one right here. So since the 3 minus 1 is in the innermost parentheses, we do that first. And then we do whatever in this parentheses, the second most innermost parentheses, second, so 2 plus whatever 3 minus 1 is, and then so on. Now the thing about this is when we have so many parentheses, it can get confusing. So this is where we actually use brackets and braces. Instead of having all parentheses, in order to distinguish better, we use parentheses first, then brackets around that, and then braces around that. And if you want to add more, then you go parentheses, brackets, and braces again. So now if we do the question, we do 3 minus 1 first, which is 2. So if we write down the rest of our question now, put the brackets in, put the braces in. All right, so now we have to do 2 plus 2 next because it's in the brackets. So 2 plus 2 is 4. And so now we write down the rest of our question again. Should just take a second. Plus 2 and a braces here. All right, and now if you're unfamiliar with what this means, a 3 just next to the braces, or next to the brackets, I mean, or parentheses or braces for that matter, it means you're multiplying it by whatever is inside. So this actually just means 3 times 4. And with our order of operations, we should do the multiplication first. So 3 times 4 is 12, and I'm going to move over here for a little bit more room. 12, and then we have to bring in the 2 plus 12, and that's still inside the braces. And finally, 2 plus 12 is 14. So our final answer to this one is 14. So now let's look at one final practice question. So the review question is 7 plus 2 times 2 plus 3 times 4 minus 4 divided by 2. It seems long and scary, but if you're learning what brackets and parentheses and braces are, you should be able to do it. If you want to give it a try, I'll give you a few seconds to pause the video before explaining the answer. Okay, so the correct answer to this question was 23. So let's begin. So remember, we have our basic 4 operations in this question, but we have to do whatever comes in parentheses, brackets, or braces first, starting with the innermost set of brackets, or parentheses in this case. So in the innermost set, we have 4 divided by 2. So simple, we do 4 divided by 2 first, which is 2. So now, remember, this is a good practice to write down the rest of your equation to make sure that you don't forget anything. So if I bring down the rest of the question, I have to add the plus 2 here. I have to add the braces here, 2, and then a plus 7. All right, so next, we did what's in this parentheses first. So now we have a brackets here and here. So we do 4 minus 2 next, because that's what's inside the brackets. So 4 minus 2 simplifies to just 2. And now keep the brackets around it. You can drop the parentheses and rewrite the rest of the question. So 2 plus 3, add our braces here, and then 7 plus 2. All right, so next we have to do whatever is inside these braces before we do the 7 plus and then the 2 times. So in this braces, we have 2 different operations, 2 plus 3, and remember this means 3 times 2, because it's 3 times whatever is inside of these brackets, which we already simplified. So 3 times 2 is what we should do first with our knowledge of order of operations. So 3 times 2 is 6, and then if we bring down the rest of the question, plus 2, 2 times that, and then plus 7. We just have to simplify whatever's in the braces first, which is 2 plus 6, and that is 8. And then finally, bring down the rest of the question. We only have 2 more steps to go. Now we have everything inside these braces and brackets and parentheses simplified. So all we have left is 7 plus 2, or 2 times 8, because this means 2 times whatever's inside the braces. So since we do multiplication first, 2 times 8 is 16. Bring down the rest of the question. It becomes 7 plus 16, and 7 plus 16 is 23. That's all, and thank you for watching.